Hello and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. On today's program, we will chat with John Yazwinski from Father Bill's and Mainspring of Quincy and Brockton. First, though, as always, we do check out the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, overcast. It is 48 degrees right now, a gray, raw day today with temperatures only in the low 50s. Chilly night tonight, around 50 degrees, more clouds. And that is in advance of some rain tomorrow. Could be heavy at times, but it will be warmer tomorrow with a high around 60 degrees. The rain will continue into tomorrow night, but it looks like it clears out in time for Halloween on Sunday with a partial sunshine. Pretty mild too on Sunday with highs into the mid 60s. And then we welcome November on Monday with brilliant sunshine. Pretty pleasant conditions for November with a high 61 degrees. But again, cloudy and 48 in Quincy right now. In the news today, the cleanup does continue across Quincy and the South Shore after Wednesday's powerful nor'easter. A temporary roof is being installed today at the O'Brien Towers housing complex over in Germantown after those high winds ripped a section off early on Wednesday morning. Housing Authority Director Jim Marathis says that eventually the whole roof will be replaced again after being replaced just a year ago. He says crews managed to keep damage to a minimum. Only a handful of residents had to be relocated. Now, downed trees also caused major damage along Palmer and C streets, knocked out power to wide sections of the city. At last check, there were 2,204 National Grid customers still without power this morning. Quincy residents can dispose of yard waste left over from the storm at the DPW yard on C Street this weekend. Mayor Thomas Koch says that every effort is being made to help clean up the city.
Obviously, there's going to be a lot more yard waste because of what's occurred with the storm, both leaves, twigs, limbs. So the DPW yard is going to be open this Saturday and Sunday, 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. on both days. So you'll be able to take your stuff down to the yard. Next week, we're trying to get additional trucks from Capital to augment the regular yard waste cleanup. Please keep in mind, if you've got limbs and stuff, if you cut them up, make it a little easy to pick up. If you have anything extraordinary large that you drag out to the curb, call directly to the number I gave you for our forestry division at Natural Resources. So appreciate you being patient. People are working extremely hard around the clock to get us back up and running. And I'm sure you've seen on the news, the whole entire South Shore, there's thousands without power. There's some total communities still without power. So we're making progress. I appreciate the efforts of the crews at National Grid, as well as the efforts of our city crews to get things back to normal.
Now, special generators were powering the Bernazani and the Snug Harbor schools today, so classes could be held there after they were canceled yesterday due to the power outage. Today is the last day of early voting here in Quincy, leading up to next Tuesday's city election. And City Clerk Nicole Crispo says it's going well.
All in all, I should say we've had about 250 early voters.
Okay.
Either requested by mail or come in and vote in person.
Oh, okay.
And about 150 absentee.
Okay.
So
that continues.
right around where we thought we were going to be with the absentees. So and the early votes. So I'm still predicting about a 15% turnout.
Crispo says the deadline has passed to request a mail-in ballot. However, absentee ballots may be cast at City Hall through Monday at noontime, and the polls will be open next Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. There are races for 3 school committee seats, councilor at-large seats, and the wards 1, 2, and 5 city council seats. Quincy Access Television will be providing live election night coverage beginning Tuesday night at 8 p.m. There they are, those 11 new Quincy firefighters on the job right now. The new firefighters were sworn in recently during a ceremony at Quincy City Hall. So the new appointees are Michael Bina, Andrew Kiley, Joseph Dwyer, Dwight Allen Washington, Kyle Costa, Patricio Fernandez, Brendan Glynn, Sandro Junkovic, Dominic Papil, Daniel Reginini, and Gregory Ware. The Quincy Fire Chief Joe Jackson says the new firefighters bring the total number on the department to 235. The new recruits will undergo 13 weeks of training at the former St. Mary's School and Rectory in West Quincy. Quincy High School students are building a tiny house. Earlier this week, students, their instructors, and school and city officials all gathered behind Quincy High School to formally kick off construction of a tiny house designed to teach the vocational students the skills in the trades that could translate into paying careers in the future. The Quincy Chamber of Commerce and several local businesses are partnering up with the Quincy High School officials on this project. The tiny house will be built on a trailer platform over the next year and then auctioned off to the public to raise money for future tiny house projects. The Chamber says the goal is to encourage more students to choose vocational education to prepare them for careers in the building trades and construction industry, which is facing a shortage of skilled workers right now. That's a check of news. Stay tuned. Coming up, we chat with John Yazwinski of Father Bill's in Mainspring. Next. Welcome back. We're really happy to welcome in studio for the first time in 2021, John Yazwinski, President, CEO of Father Bill's and Mainspring, to give us some updates on what's happening with the organization here in Quincy and in Brockton as well. John, good to see you in person.
It's good to be back.
Yes.
Thank you, Joe.
Nice to be, face to face rather than screen to screen.
That's right.
How are you?
Doing well.
Good.
Yeah, it's been probably, I was saying to people, it's probably been for my 25 years now at Father Bill's.
You were 10 when you started,
I was 10
right?
there, yeah. It's probably, the last 18 months or so has probably been the hardest time for us.
Is that right?
At least for my 25 years. Yeah.
Wow. So, let's, before we talk about a status update and things, how did the shelters fare in the nor'easter?
We did all right. We have generators at all of our places. There wasn't any major damage. We definitely lost power in certain places,
Sure.
But overall, everybody is safe and fine. So
That is
thank
good.
you for asking.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Last time we chatted, it was virtually still, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We had talked a lot about how Father Bill's in Mainspring was dealing with the pandemic.
Yeah.
Is it still impacting you?
It is.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, right, people are thinking like it's coming to an end or something. And, for especially people, our families, our individuals that are experiencing homelessness, for every 5 people we move out, there's 6 people at the door. And so we're still seeing it where, people have loss of jobs, even though people now can get back to work,
Right.
The ability, even when they're getting to work now and they're still at the shelter, the housing market now is so tight they can't move out even
Right.
now that they have a job. And it takes a long time to save up for that first, last, and security. I think that what we've seen during the pandemic is the rise of people struggling with substance use. And so, that's been a group that we've been very concerned about and seeing an increase of. Elders, people with fixed incomes, has been our fastest growing population.
Really?
Pre-COVID and definitely continuing
Okay.
in that sense. For us though, again, in the height of COVID, we had, less than 20% infection rate at the shelters. But as we've depopulated ourselves and separated people, what we've seen is that, that infection rate stay around 1% or below. And I can't say enough of a local medical provider, Manic Community Health. They have been tremendous through this pandemic for us. During it, of course, we had the Y stepped up, South Shore Y, the mayor, kind of brokered that deal and said we all got to work together on this. FEMA and the state, of course, but Manit's been with us from day one, and they continue to be there doing surveillance testing and getting people vaccinated, our guests and everything.
Sure. How are you handling now the rollout of boosters?
We've been in conversations, with a few of the medical providers that really help the homeless and saying, how do we now help the guests get the boosters
Right.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been rolled out yet,
Okay.
but the wheels are in motion.
Okay, all right. So you're seeing new faces at the shelter?
Yeah,
Really?
most definitely. We've got young adults. I was just down at the shelter today and talking with our case manager that just works with 18 to 24-year-olds and seeing how many young adults are kind of falling through the cracks and they're coming to us and everything. One of the things we have continued to do is we've been getting guidance from the Department of Public Health, and at Father Bill's in Quincy, we've been averaging for ever since I've been there 130 to up to 150 people in the winter. And, we've still stayed with the COVID protocols of still not, socially distancing everybody. But we have a room just at Father Bill's for people that are quarantined. So we have a room that is filled with people, new people that we don't know if they've been vaccinated yet. We're trying to find that out. We're testing them, and we don't want to mix them with the rest of the population and all of that. So we're still struggling with that. We are still in the hotels, as we talked about months ago. So we've got 110 people in hotels, and then we've got about 60 people at Father Bill's in Quincy at Broad Street, and that's just allowed us to continue to serve the nightly census, the average need. But we do know that the unsheltered people living out on our streets in the South Shore has grown, and we're continuing to see how we can address that. Especially a lot of people with severe mental health issues are afraid to come into the shelter,
because of COVID?
Because of COVID. I might get it and things like that. There's still people that are hesitant to get the vaccine and don't want to come in. People can still come in if they're not vaccinated. We're not saying you have to be vaccinated to get, a bed. So.
Okay, all right. Is there any assistance available from the federal pandemic relief funds that could help, John?
So, up and through July, we had been getting FEMA money to help us with the depopulation sites, which was great. What we're really trying to do now is they call it the ARPA funding, the American Recovery Act. Is we're really advocating for a portion of that money to go towards housing that could go targeted to people, families, and individuals experiencing homelessness. So there's a bill that the House just put in Massachusetts for they're getting $5 billion of ARPA. And so we've asked for about $150 million the House had to just target the homeless in the state of Massachusetts for housing, and that's what we really would like. We know that housing is the answer, and so we'd be excited to see some of that Recovery Act, CARES Act money that's coming to the communities really be used for the housing.
Have you heard from the administration at all as to whether they support that?
They definitely have said that they've got in their kind of recommendations $1 billion of the $5 billion to go to housing. But they haven't specifically said, this is what's going to go to homeless. That's why we're excited to see the House budget where they specifically called out of whatever their allotment is of maybe it's $1 billion, I'm not sure, but $150 million for the homeless, which is great. And now we'll start to ask the Senate to support that.
Good.
And that's really because we don't want to go back to having crowded shelters and people sleeping on the floors and everything. And it's not good to have everybody. I think we realized during this pandemic that public health wise, it isn't good to have people sleeping so close to each other.
Not only for COVID, but any kind of infectious disease, right? Flu, for the common cold even. If folks who are compromised, it could be quite bad for them.
It's usually really bad for us at the shelters every winter when we're in overflow. Absolutely. And that's one of the things we saw with everybody still wearing masks is, as we've been fighting this pandemic, last winter, the flu season, we didn't see the amount of people getting sick because we had socially distanced them and they were wearing masks.
Absolutely. It's so true. Speaking of finding housing, before COVID hit, there was a huge announcement about your efforts to develop a new housing resource center here in Quincy. How's that going?
It's going well. We are literally going to start construction in the next couple of months.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, we are.
Wow. Breaking news.
Breaking news. So basically, we're excited that in June the governor and the lieutenant governor and the whole delegation and the speaker all came out and announced that the state was going to support the replacing Father Bill's shelter and giving us some funding to go to the Housing Resource Center.
$4 million, as I recall.
$4 million. And since then we've known that they're now also going to support the 30 units of housing that will be connected with the resource center.
We have a rendering actually, if we can show folks just to give them a sense.
That would be great.
What it would look like.
So from there, then we've gotten great response of funding from the state and stuff. Is we're now launching launching a capital campaign
Okay.
of private money. And so
Yep.
we're going to be we're in the process now of raising $10 million to help fund that project.
Okay.
But we've got such great support from people that we're comfortable enough saying, let's go and break ground, in the next couple of months.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
here's what it might look like over on Broad Street. You can see that in your monitor. Kind of explain what we're looking at, if you could, John.
That would be beautiful. Yeah. So this is at 39 Broad Street. So
Okay.
if you're thinking of Fratelli's
Yep.
on the right, it's the vacant lot right there. So the shorter building on the left would be the new Housing Resource Center.
Okay.
So in that building, we would really focus. You would still have emergency beds,
Okay.
shelter beds in the building, but really it's a resource center that will have staff there
Mm-hmm.
that will help people that aren't just homeless. So we really want it to be where we focus on prevention.
Mm-hmm.
If you're starting to say, I lost my job, I've got a medical issue, I might be getting evicted, call us, come down once this is built. We know that prevention works.
Okay.
And so we'll have resources to help people prevent them from ever having to come to the shelter. We'll look at diversion. So diversion means we know that 25 or 30% of the people that come to Father Bill's place come from other systems of care. If it's the mental health system or the substance abuse system, or young adults getting discharged from state systems when they graduate, when they go from 17 to 18.
Yeah.
We really want to look at diverting people and working with those systems upstream and saying, Father Bill's, the resource center, the shelter part should be the last resort,
Okay.
not the first resort.
Okay.
We'll have day programming, like I said, that will really allow people to stay in during the day.
Yeah.
Right now the shelters are funded for just, nighttime services. We're committed to 24/7 here so that we can engage with people during the day and they're not roaming the Quincy community.
Okay.
Now people still may want to leave and get some fresh air or to go into work or day programs or school, of course. But we're hoping that the people that maybe go out and are struggling, where do I go during the day, will engage with our team and we can really look at what they need and where we can help them leave the Housing Resource Center. And we'll have a community lunch program. And
Okay.
it's not just for people that are at Father Bill's. If people need a hot lunch every day, they could come down to our lunch program. So
Okay.
we're really looking at it as a resource center where people can kind of come, and then the other building will be 30 units of permanent housing, efficiency apartments.
Wow.
So every unit will have its own kitchenette. It will have a full bath and a full closet, and the rooms are about a little over 300 square feet.
Okay, so for
Brand
single
new.
people.
So it'll be for single people
Okay.
that are experiencing homelessness here, in this area. The first floor will really, as you can see, the buildings are connected. It's one big project, and the first floor will have things that both places will use. We'll have classrooms to help people with education. We'll have a library, a small library
okay.
setting, computers and things that really get people self-sufficient. Say, if you're doing a housing search or if
Yeah.
you're going, with help with your employment, here you go. Here's some resources for you.
Okay, yeah. Connection to the internet is almost a lifeline today.
is.
It's the first avenue of resource that people go to for information and connection. So that'll be key, I'm sure.
Yeah, and we're happy to say that even a local group, the Arbella Insurance Foundation, has committed $300,000 to this project
Wow.
already. So we're
Okay.
starting off on a good foot there. So.
How would you determine the 30 individuals that are housed?
Yeah, it will really be. It's what we consider it. We call it a coordinated entry system, where it will be people that are our highest need. So
Okay.
people that really can't go into mainstream housing. So
Okay.
people with severe disabilities.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And are you going to need additional staff for this new center, John?
We do, and
do.
part of our comprehensive campaign is not just for raising money for the capital, but raising money for the programs.
Yeah.
This is innovative, right?
Yeah.
We're looking to reduce the length of stays. We're trying to get away from managing homelessness or warehousing people to more of like a medical emergency room. So we want more, I always say people save people, and we need more people on the front lines. We've created a triage team. We've got donors that have given us money the last 3 or 4 years to start implementing the new service delivery model.
Okay.
So we will be adding staff that will really look at engaging with people, triage, assessing them, and then moving them on.
Yeah. So how will the program kind of sustain itself? How will the center sustain itself? It's not an emergency shelter anymore.
Yep.
So, funding-wise, you're going to need a steady steady stream, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, one of the greatest things is that the funding that goes into the shelter now will continue.
Okay.
But the funding is flexible enough that the state public funding is like, absolutely, this is best practice.
Okay.
We've been doing this for a while anyways, and now it's all doing it at one location in one place. So, but you're right, we will continue to have to raise more private money because it's more than what we get from the public.
Right. Yeah. So still, you'll have your big fundraisers that'll be taking place along the way. Yeah.
What we've seen by talking with like 30 or 40 of our top supporters on the private side is people are excited about this.
Okay.
And they view this as, innovative, bold, and let's do something, let's attack this homeless issue differently than other communities and not just manage it.
Well, not only here in Massachusetts, but nationwide, this is a model, right?
There'll be a lot of people looking at this at the end of the day. Father Bills in Mainspring has been looking at this model and has been practicing components of these things for over the last 10 to 12 years.
Yeah.
So we've been doing it. We know it works. Now it's like we're putting the whole initiative behind it.
I can't help but think, years ago when Father Bills was first founded, Father Bill McCarthy said, your number one job, John, is to take down the sign.
That's right.
Even then, he knew the answer was housing people.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so you're right. Like, this is very exciting for all of us in the community that knew Father Bill to know, Father, we are taking the sign down.
Exactly. What's going to happen in the interim between when the current shelter is torn down to make way for the police station and the new one is built? What happens in the middle there?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to know. The one great thing that the mayor in the city has said is there will be no break-in services.
Okay.
So the shelter, the people in our shelter, there's not. You're not going to lose the shelter services right now. We're going to know. Fairly soon, in about a month or so. What does that look like in the timing? But what we're excited about is that we know that right now we're on target to start building our new building, early winter. So the first phase, hopefully would finish by, winter to spring of next year.
Yep.
And then, then the second phase of the housing would start probably in the spring of 2022 and finish in the summer 2023.
Summer 2023.
Yeah.
Okay, so there'll be a big ceremony then.
There'll be a big one there. Yeah, absolutely.
How much do you need for your capital campaign?
Yeah, so we are looking to raise $10 million, and it won't just be for the capital; it'll be for some of the programming and innovation there. And we started the campaign in a quiet phase probably about 6 months ago.
Okay.
Feeling very good about it, and so we're kind of kicking it off now in the community. Another newsbreaker today.
Love it, love it. That's perfect. So, how do folks support the effort, John? What's the best way for them?
Yeah, I mean, people can go on our website, helpfbms.org, and you can see about it. You can call our team at 508-427-6448. Talk to Katie Riley about supporting us if you're interested in helping with the campaign.
Okay, or the number we have up there to the Quincy shelter as well.
Yep. Okay. And people continually support us, which is great. This summer we didn't have our food fest, of course, our annual event because of COVID, but we did have some small donor events, and it was great to see local groups like George Burke, and we had Delbrook and Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cashman Dredging, South Shore Bank, Arbella, all came out and supported our mission. People are continuing to help us.
Yeah. Short term, the holidays are coming.
Yeah.
So will you have your holiday assistance program once again?
We will.
Okay.
So I think what we're going to do this year is we're still going to have a community meal at Christ Church in Quincy for people that would like to come down.
Okay.
But we're going to socially distance people, where people that live in our shelters, especially at Father Bill's, we'll keep them at the shelter and have a nice community meal there.
Okay.
And then we'll also be doing an expanded meal delivery program.
Oh, all right.
So people that are in need of a meal, want it delivered, they can go on our website and it will be promoting it. We'll give you the information promoting. People can call and say, I need a meal, and people will deliver it. So we expect to serve over 1,000 meals on Thanksgiving.
It's incredible. Yeah, it really is. And then Christmas, of course, soon after that.
Soon after that.
Yeah. At the shelter, I always like to ask, what do you need right now?
Yeah, no. So, right now, in a sense of our needs, of course, is, you know, you're always in need of those basics. If it's toothbrushes and toothpaste,
the personal hygiene items are in great demand always, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's always, you know, socks, and going in the winter, new coats,
Sure.
new sweatshirts, new sweatpants, and things like that. But again, we have a wish list on our website,
Okay.
and you can get up to date that way.
All right. Anything else we should let folks know about, John?
No, you know, again, just continue to appreciate the greater Quincy community. You know, the Interfaith Network in Quincy has been very supportive of us through the pandemic, years before, of course, with us, and again, has been very supportive of this transition.
That's great. Well, we look forward to the Grand Prix coming up soon.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks for coming over. Appreciate it. Just enough time to check the forecast for you for the rest of the day today. Kind of what you see is what you get out there. Gray and raw with temperatures in the low 50s, down around 50 tonight with some clouds, maybe some rain late. Definitely some rain tomorrow. Could be heavy at times, kind of breezy too. Nothing like we had on Wednesday, so don't be concerned about that. But it will be a wet day tomorrow. Much better on Sunday to wrap up October with sunshine, mid 60s. And then starting November with a sunny day in the high 61 degrees. Thanks again to John Yazwinski for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks to our crew. Thank you for watching Monday on the program. Tom Clasby from the Quincy Council on Aging. Go to our website too, qatv.org. You'll find our latest programs. There's news and information there, video on demand, live streaming, and much more. For all of us here at Quincy Access Television, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great weekend.